Hi, I'm Julie Jones, the Career Development Specialist at Ursuline, and I'm here to talk to you about virtual interviewing. And first of all, I want you to notice that I am looking directly into the camera. There is a picture of me over on the side, which you can see, which I can see out of my periphery, but I am going to look at this camera, which means I'm looking at you the entire time that I'm talking at this moment. When I get into presenting my slides, it may be a little bit different. But if someone were interviewing me, they would see that I am making eye contact with them by looking at the camera. Occasionally, you may want to look down just to make sure that they are engaged, but I would consider about 99% of the time, you should be looking into the camera and making eye contact as if you're sitting with them and as if you're looking at them like you would be in person. So tip number one is right there, and you'll see that as we go through this. The next thing you'll notice is that I'm in a room, I'm in a classroom here on campus, and behind me, as you can see, is a dark colored wall, which contrasts with my sweater and my hair color, which is really not that big of a deal, but the whole point is that there's a contrast. I'm not blending into my surroundings. I'm also not wearing something that's crazy print, and there's nothing crazy print or anything distracting behind me. So these are the first two things that you need to consider. Number one, look into the camera. Number two, think about where you are and make a decision on where your best spot is so that you are the only thing that is being presented to them, not your bookshelf or someone walking back behind you or whatever it might be if you're coming to your interview from your dorm room or your home. So let's take a look at the other things we need to think about. Number three, if we've already used number one and number two, look into the camera, consider your background. You need to test your technology prior to the interview. So be sure that you can get linked into Zoom. Be sure that your camera works. Be sure that your microphone works. And you can do that by signing on to a Zoom meeting on your phone and on your computer or on your iPad or whatever it is, or on somebody else's, so you can test that. Lots of trial runs have been taken by my phone and this computer to make sure that my screen is sharing or whatever I need to be dealing with at that point. Second, on this screen, again, set the scene and minimize the distractions. That's where this background comes in. Make sure that you're in a room that you can't hear people running around or bouncing basketballs or screaming or dogs barking and all those kinds of things. So get control of your environment to the best of your ability. Sit down prepared. Right? I actually prefer standing up when I'm talking. However, when I stand up, I have a tendency to move around a little bit. So for this, I decided to go ahead and sit down since I'm trying to get you to understand the best practices. Now, truthfully, it is best if you could get me from the waist up so you could see my hands moving and just not my fingers coming in into the picture. So if you're able to do that, where you can see from the waist up, that is a good practice. Otherwise, from the shoulders up, making sure that you have good posture and all those kinds of things. But if you can picture, if I could back up, and I can't back up quite far enough, but this way you would be able to see my hands. However, I feel a little distant. So for our purposes, I would try to go, mid chest up, and make sure that your head is positioned in the middle and that you are using good posture. You're not slumping, you're not sitting on your couch, all those kinds of things, but be prepared when you sit down and are ready to go. Practice questions, which I have a few for you coming up, but don't memorize things. When we memorize things, we worry about what we forgot to say. When we practice, we get the gist, right? Or the general concepts of what it is we're trying to share. You know yourself. You know yourself, you know what you've done, you know how you measure up to this position. So make sure that you're expressing that, right? With a smile, with some enthusiasm. Don't go crazy, of course. You're not a cheerleader in this, but you don't want to be so robotic that you're boring, right? Or that you're too rehearsed, because now we're getting tense. And anytime that we're tense, we're not performing as well as we can. And this is a mini performance, if you want to look at it that way. Again, monitor your body language. Make sure that you're not, picking your nose or doing too much with your hair or, fixing your glasses constantly. Make sure your glasses are clean. Make sure you don't have makeup underneath your eyes. Make sure that your hair or your collar is the way that it needs to be. Monitor what you look like. Monitor your body language as you're going through. If someone is asking a really long question or telling a story, make sure you're not looking bored. So, be there, be present, be ready to go. Dress the part. I was always told to dress for the job that you really want. So if you think you want to be the president of the college at one day, as opposed to an RA, dress like it. Be professional, right? Not too much crazy, right? You don't want to, have something too outlandish. Professional. If you don't know what business professional is, or if you don't know what professional is, Google it. They'll tell you. A tie, a shirt collar, a nice blouse, a nice sweater, whatever it might be, but dress the part. And obviously you really can't tell a whole lot about what I have. I'm going to have on a wool turtleneck sweater. Would I choose this for an interview? Probably not. I would have on a collared shirt with a jacket. But for today, this is what we have, right? Make a connection. So you're talking to a person. I'm talking to a video right now, but make a connection with somebody, right? Have a conversation. Make sure that you're conversational. Be yourself. They're hiring you. They want to know who you are. If you're going to be in whatever position it is that they have available, you want to make sure that you are being yourself and not trying to be somebody else, not trying to be too perfect, not trying to be, you're not perfect. None of us are perfect. They don't expect that. But they want to get a sense of your personality. But be professional. Be yourself professionally. Follow up immediately. As soon as you're done, shoot them an email, write them a handwritten thank you note. Both things. Both things. People don't get handwritten notes anymore, and they are much, much appreciated. You might be the only one that does that. So be that person. And then you have to prepare, right? It started at the very beginning. Think practice, right? Practice. Be ready with your technology. Be prepared with questions. Be prepared to answer. Because the more we practice, the more confident we get. The more confident we are, the better everything goes for us. We're more fluid, we're more relaxed, we're more ourselves. We're more able to make a connection. So think about those things. Here are a couple questions you might be asked. Why are you interested in this role? What do you know about our position? What are your greatest weaknesses? What are your biggest achievements? Tell me more about a challenge that you've had and how you dealt with it. What are you looking for in this new position? And why are you leaving your current role? Now, that probably doesn't fit what you're doing right now necessarily, but that's something to think about. So all these questions, these are general interview questions. And you will be asked these either in this interview or in an interview in the future. So be prepared for those. Questions for you to ask. What's a typical day in the life look like? Right? What are the goals of this position, this group on campus? What are the goals for this semester, this year, this quarter, whatever it might be? How do you describe the ideal candidate? So ask them, what's the ideal candidate look like? And then you can give back all the things that you match, right? The ideal candidate is this. Well, heck, I'm this. And then you need to tell them about it. Where does this role sit in the organization? Like, who do I report to? Who else will I be working with? If I get this position, who else will I be dealing with around campus, around the organization, around wherever it is? You need to know those things. And that way it can lead you to asking other questions, and you can then offer more information about how well you'll do when they hire you. And then next, can you walk me, what's my next step? Walk me through the hiring process. Tell me what I need to do. What should I expect from you as the employer, as the boss, on what to do next? A few more tips. Research the individuals with whom you'll meet. Where have they been? What's their experience? Learn as much about them as possible. Learn about people maybe who were in the role before that were successful. But interviews are not just about them asking you questions. It's also about you asking them questions. So, and here it says here, research shows that asking a lot of questions unlocks learning and improves interpersonal bonding. So if you ask them questions and let them talk about themselves a little bit, people like that. They like to talk about themselves. So consider having questions lined up, just as I mentioned previous to this, and be ready to ask them at least 2 questions, right? What's the pay? I don't know. Anything that you think is important, maybe you won't start with that. But, what does the ideal candidate look like? How can I make your job easier if I get this role? Everybody loves that question. What can I do if I get this role to make your job easier? Try that one out for size. That's a good one. Here's a few things. Okay, test your webcam, your internet connection, all those things. Use proper lighting. Decent lighting in this room. right? Set up a little light. That's what I do when I'm recording some things that I put on the internet. I put a light right in front of me, make sure I have the lights behind me, that my hair doesn't look like it's like yellow. Just saying. So log in early, give yourself at least 5 to 10 minutes so you're there waiting for them. Check your sound, position yourself against the background, dress professionally, look into the camera and smile. Make sure there isn't any background noise. Close the windows, close the tabs on your computer. If you saw all the tabs open in my computer, you'd be like, you are crazy. There are probably 30 of them lined up. That's because I'm like absent-minded and I can't remember where I went. But close them out. Put them in your bookmarks. You'll find them again. So they tell me. Don't speak too quickly or too softly, right? Don't wear heavy makeup or distracting accessories. Just be chill for the day, right? Don't gesture your hands too much because it can be distracting. Don't risk your laptop running out of battery. Make sure it's plugged in or it's fully charged. Don't read your answers. And try to avoid the spacers, the because that makes things seem really long. Just be confident and practice, right? Make sure that you're fluid with your speech. You're talking about you. No one knows you better. Be confident in that. What if you don't have a webcam? Use your phone, borrow it, go to the library. You can find a way. Plan ahead, right? What if you don't have a quiet space? Again, plan ahead, go to the library, rent a room in our library, sign up for a room in our library, find a classroom like this, right? Just close yourself off as much as possible. Put pillows under the door if that'll keep the noise out a little bit. What if your interview gets interrupted? Excuse yourself just for a minute until you can get control of your atmosphere and then come back. And try not to worry about it too much that you say, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. This is life. We live in a COVID world right now and interruptions happen, right? We want to make sure that we apologize, we get control, and we show them that we are not rattled, we're ready to go. We can deal with adversity, we can adapt. And I think that's something that's important for you to be able to show. And then how do you end an interview? You thank them, you're gracious, and then again, you follow up immediately. But at the end, just say, thank you so much for your time and this opportunity. It would be a pleasure to be a part of your association, a part of your organization or whatever it is, but make sure you say thank you because they took the time to interview you. Prepare in advance, limit distractions, use professional body language, build rapport, be authentic, and follow up. If you can do these things, you're going to be successful. Stand out by looking at them, by being confident and prepared. Give them their words back. Look at their mission statement. Think about how it is that they state the things that are important to them, maybe conversations you've had before, and work those words in your practice and give their words back to them. That's important. And look into the darn camera. It makes all the difference in the world. Make sure you're not looking up your nose. Make sure you're not looking down on your head. Make sure you're looking directly at your face and you're in the center of the camera. That alone will make you look different than probably 50% of the people that interview for things today. I hope this helped. If you have questions, feel free to shoot me an email, julie.jones@ursuline.edu, and I'd be happy to help you out.